49. Logan Campbell is number 50. Dylan Holland, 16. Sebastian Asher, number 17. Wade Barr, 51. Kai Haynes, 52. And Grayson Westgate, 53. Well done to all our athletes. Let's welcome them down to the beach. What a full field. Thank you for your patience. Some great racing with a very strong field. So 3 Tasmanians in there. Let's get behind them. Great to have 2 juniors.
Well, there they are, Redders, as they line up on the starting line. And again, I think that you made mention previously how they have a slight angle. Is that because of the tide coming in as well?
Yeah, we've been notified by the officials that there's a slight angle there because of the tide, and also there's a few rocks to that end of the course, so they've just had to move the first turning buoy a little bit, so they've compensated by just staggering the line a little bit to get that fair for everybody.
Okay. So there they all are, just limbering up, ready to take on what the tide is on the turn as well, Redders, so we can notice that it is coming in. Still pretty good conditions. A breeze just getting up for those who have, just joined us. You'll notice that there were no wetsuits on today because the temperature of the water is very, very pleasant. I think it's, what did we say, Redders? Was it 21 or 20-ish?
22 degrees.
22, sorry, mate. 22,
yeah,
I apologise.
So, which is highly unusual.
Yep.
I was saying before the women's race, probably the 39, 40 years of the Devonport Tri, probably only half a dozen races have been non-wetsuit, but it has been really great weather for the last week or so, which has kept the water nice and warm. As you can see, this swim is quite sheltered by the Devonport Bluff headland there, but there is blowing a northeasterly wind, so it's basically blowing from the rider screen towards the Bluff headland, so you can see just a little bit of a clean wave running in there, but not too big, but it will make it a little bit lumpy at the back of the swim course as you lose the shelter of the Bluff headland. But they will come back really quickly with the pushing current and wind.
So is there any competitor here that you would suspect that you would thinking that these conditions would suit more than anyone else?
Well, I certainly know athletes that have had that bit of surf background and got, it's quite a long wade here, so you'd expect that that will be very advantageous. Bit of a long run in, and it is a long run from the swim exit to T1.
Yes.
Across the sand, not quite as far as the women's race, but certainly it's still a bit of a run there and quite a big transition. So some advantage you make in the swim can be gained back or extended through that run from the swim exit to the transition, and we're in the starter's hands.
So you can see right in front of us there is Grayson Westgate from New Zealand, number 54. Next to him, Kai Haynes. And so they're looking out to sea, thinking, how am I going to go today? All the channeling every bit of positivity they possibly can to get them up and having a good race. And indeed they are away now, and as they sprint and trying to keep their legs as high as is possible, sprinting towards the water as they get themselves wet. There's that initial shock, isn't there, Redders, when you first go in? It's a, although 22, it is a shock to the system, and then the body starts to regulate, the heart gets up, you start pounding, the arms start to come over, you want to get yourself into a quick rhythm, as you can already see they've spread right across the field, and they up and swimming.
Yeah, you can see it's a little bit lumpy, a little bit further out to sea where you lose the protection of the headland. But a great start there. The left certainly split into 2 groups here, trying to find their way. And it could be Callum McCluskey that's leading on that right-hand side.
McCluskey was interesting, Redders, in New Zealand just recently, where he was first. He swam a 9:22. So that's sort of the time that we'd be thinking of here today, around that sort of area.
Yeah, I'd certainly expect to see someone like a Brandon Copeland right up there as well.
Yep.
Dylan McCullers quite a strong swimmer, and Taylor Reid as well, the Kiwi Olympian. He's certainly a very strong swimmer with a surf background.
So that looks like to be it is a New Zealand athlete right there in front of us as we, it's a low number, so maybe that is indeed Reed. Let's have a look here. Oh no, anyway, that's a lovely stroke. And we can see 4 or 5 across, and crucially they're just jockeying for position there, Redders, as in the ladies division that we saw. Some got a little bit too close to the boy and they didn't position themselves to sort of sweep around, if you like, to the turn. So that'll be quite interesting to see as they come around. They're coming up towards that first marker. It is a 750 metre swim, of course, so that's just there's the two boys. You go out, round the one boy, round the next, and then head back in towards the starting position where it's T1, and then there's a 20-kilometre ride. There are 4 5-kilometre laps and a 5-kilometre run, which is 2.5 kilometres as they come up towards the first marker.
Fantastic vision there from our drone. The old Devonport Surf Club in the background, and way down in the background, Mount Roland.
Now I think this drone, we've got to rename it something because it sounds, not to me, but let's give it a name. Let's call it Richard, because the operator is indeed Richard, who's doing a great job. So thank you, Richard, who is flying up there and showing this wonderful, wonderful vision that we can see as they're coming around the first one and just about to go round. You can see there's a big crowd that building to watch the race.
Yeah, just saw the vision of the Burt Whistle family watching on intently there. And some of the crowd.
They are. Yeah, they're really enjoying the day here. Lovely conditions. It's we were here yesterday for the World Para Sprint race, which was just fantastic. We had over 100 competitors from 22 countries, I think. This morning we had competitors in the Tassie Championships in the sprint and also in the Olympic distance of the 1.5, 40, 10. It was a real carnival, and now we come down to the elite racing, and we can see here's the cream of the crop just striding out very nicely. We can see here out to sea.
Getting a bit of feedback that we believe that's Braden Mercer from Queensland. He's a first year under 23 in this group. He's a talent transfer, has a surf life saving background.
Yes.
Apparently it's the son of the great Dean Mercer. I'm sure that name rings a bell.
It certainly does.
And his mum, Reen Corbett. Amazing surf pedigree.
Yes.
They were around my vintage when I was surf life saving as well. So Braden Mercer, the under 23 athlete, is potentially leading this race.
Well, it's great to see. Good experience for Braden. Now, as soon as you said the name Mercer, the old eyes did widen up. I thought I know that name, as doing a very, very nice job as we speak.
Yeah, so Braden Mercer, Dylan McCullough from New Zealand, we expect to be right up there as well. They'll be loving this little bit of chop.
And around they go, head back into shore.
You can certainly bet if a Dylan McCullough and a Taylor Reid is in that lead group, they will not be hanging around. They will be trying to have a really quick transition from swim to bike and straight up that North Street Hill to try and open up a gap.
Yeah, there was a few challenges in the bike in the elite women's race. I think we had a couple of falls, just I think a shoulder injury, and we didn't quite pick up on the other, but we do know that our competitors are well and healthy now, but there's a fair bit of concentration. Very technical bike race. So the swimmers are out there and they are working really hard on their way back in to the shore.
And here we go, here's our lead swimmers. So 2 black suits, so I would hazard a guess that's 2 Kiwis. Try and pick up that race number on their arm. A little bit tricky.
If we saw, it certainly had a double figure, so of course Braden Mercer does have that 27. If we can pick that number up when we go back to them, that's the one we can tell. They're going to get close in, you'll see them, and as soon as they pop up, and they'll really spread those legs out wide and power into the T1 as the swimmers now coming in with some very interested onlookers. Still very good conditions here at Devonport. Can get a little bit problematic later in the afternoon when the sea breeze comes in, but very fortunate for today as the tide is on its way in. And there they are coming back towards the shore. Nice rhythm, as we can see here.
Yeah, very quick swim.
It'll be interesting to see that. As we said, the race in New Zealand at Napier was a 9:20 odd, so what are we in now? 6:50 odd, I think, so far down in the race. So a few more minutes to go yet till we get to that type of thing, but we'll keep a close eye on that and who indeed is leading the race in the early stages of the big race here. Coming to you live from Devonport is the Oceania Triathlon Sprint Championship for 2024.
Yeah, so our lead swimmers are now just starting to come into the little wave area. See if they can pick up a little run and just gain that few metres advantage that can just help them get in and out of transition quickly. They've just missed that little wave there that gave them a bit of a lift. Here comes another one behind.
Yeah, this is when the surf life-saving skills come into it, Redders, isn't it? Knowing when to really give it to you, and frustrating if you've got to the lead and someone does get one and can sail past you.
Yeah, just see that little gap there. It's a really interesting gap right there. You can see 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there it goes. Just got on that one. So looking back to see where the other athletes are, they're suggesting it might be New Zealand, as we can hear just to the side, but
Dylan McCullough.
It is McCullough.
No surprise there. Talented swimmer and an incredibly strong bike rider as well. So he's certainly he's not going to wait.
Jack Crome as well coming out nicely, Redders.
Great swim from him. And Tyler Reid, the Kiwi Olympian, is certainly just behind him as well. So we've got Kiwis 1, 3 and possibly 4 too.
Yeah, I think it is 4th.
These guys could quite easily team up and take the race up the road.
The Tasman rivalry, there's no doubt about it. The men in those big black suits.
So Jack Crome is great swim from him, so he's out there. Luke Whelan's coming into his transition as well. But this group has got a very handy break, and they will be very hard to catch. And they're mounting on the bike now, got to make sure they get past the mount line before they can jump on their bike. But we've got 3 away, Dylan McCullough, Taylor Reid and Jack Crome. So fantastic race from them. Trent Thorpe's not far behind. Luke Whelan's right there. Got Schofield, Jones.
Well, there's been an accident as well, just down in front of us.
Mercer.
Yep.
He's just had a little bit of mounting issue, but he's okay. He's just getting going again. Lost a bit of time. He just sort of fell off his bike just in front of Jake Birtwistle, but I don't think he impeded him too much as they come thick and fast.
I think that's exactly what happened in the ladies' race as well. Just looking down at their shoe, and now they're able to get up and Jack Woodbury, as we heard in the background. So here is our leading group.
Yeah,
McCullough, Crome, Reid.
They will not be waiting around. Taylor and Dylan know each other's race plans very, very well. Yep. Luke Whelan's chasing hard. He's not far behind.
I tell you what, Redders, as we're watching that vision there, we can just glance to our left and see the cyclists come by. And if you're watching this vision here, you're thinking, oh, they're not going very fast. Can we absolutely tell you we are at ground level? They are motoring very, very swiftly as they get themselves organised, some clicking their shoes in later than others, but the race is on in earnest here in Devonport for 2024, and already there's a couple of little bunches trying to get together, trying to follow, but it's Dylan McCullough, Jack Crome and Taylor Reid are out there, followed by Trent Thorpe, then Luke William from Australia. So very, very closely bunched up indeed. There is Blackburn, Australia.
So what a fantastic swim from Jack Crome. He represented Australia as a junior last year at the World Championships Hoppy. So he's stepping up to his first real elite race, and he's in pretty good company there with Dylan McCullough and Taylor Reid. Trains up in Brisbane with Warwick Dazel, and has a very strong swim-bike combination and working on his run, but certainly put himself in a fantastic position for this race.
He certainly is. a thorn in the roses that are New Zealand, and there's a fair bit that he can probably glean or learn from those two competitors. Do you reckon he'd be out there and just almost pinching himself? He said, look at where I find myself between these two guys. I've just got to keep up, compete, and see how I go from here. So he's right in the mix.
Yeah, we'll see. The first time up the North Street Hill will give you a good indication how your legs are.
Yeah, very much so.
If you've had a swim and then you're riding along, and as a young up-and-coming athlete, you can get a little bit energised and you can override a little bit and spend too many bickies early on the bike. But what a fantastic start to his race here in Devonport.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing but I guess it's an opportunity for him, as he says, and let's have a look.
Yeah, so look, he's been dropped by the two Kiwi boys. These guys are outstanding cyclists. Look, they love a hill, and I tell you what, if they're not careful, the race will be up the road with these two. Chrome's there trying to hang on. We need to get a bit of a time gap and a visual back to our chase group. I know Luke Whelan was there. Yeah, so there's Luke Whelan now in 4th place, and then the chase posse of 6 athletes chasing him down. So they're all on the hill together, but the Kiwi boys are about to get over the steepest part of the climb, as you can see there in the image. Great shots of how steep that is, as the other boys are just trying to work their way over the top. And if they push over the top there, get to the U-turn and come screaming down, they can open the gap very, very quickly.
Yeah, and the reality is it opens up, doesn't it, while some are going up, but the others are going down, and that
So there's the U-turn. So the Kiwi boys are around the U-turn at the top of the North Street Hill. It doesn't look very steep from this vision there, Hoppy, but it gives you a great visual of what the gaps are.
That is fantastic shots there from Richard, just to show us the true indication of the distance. And as we pan on the other side, we can see it, and now you get a bit of a sense of they go down there with the frightening pace. They are sticking together, working together. I think they'll certainly be teammates until such time as they decide, well, who's going to try and win this race. They're going to work hard to try and get a gap on the rest of the field, because they know if they can. Here they come now around this very technical area.
Yeah, be hitting 90 plus kilometres an hour down that hill, and now they're hard brake, left-hand turn, then the U-turn, and then through this little chicane. It really does burn.
So, of course, Dylan McCulloch is the under-23 as well, Redders. So he's leading the race proper, but he also qualifies to win the under-23 race with Taylor Reid. Very, very close, and here come the chasing bunch.
So here's our chase group. So Jack Crone's been swallowed up by, I believe that's Luke Whelan in 4th place. So 2 training buddies, if they're both with... just get a vision of that. Whelan and Crome, yep, so 2 same training squad up in Brisbane with Warwick Dazel. And then Jake Burt was in the lead group in 5th place. Trent Thorpe's there and Saxon Morgan from New Zealand I can see in that group as well.
Yeah, so they need to work their way up, those guys. Start the communication of working out how they can get themselves ordered and organised to really push on to catch McCulloch and Reid, who have got a little bit of distance on the field in the early stages of the race on lap 1 of 4 in the cycle.
So now it's about trying to jock, having a look at where your position is, what pack you're in, whether you can get across to the next pack, have to make decisions on whether you're going to try and accelerate and get through to that group, or you're going to back your run and sit where you are. Still early days in the bike. They'll probably ride really hard for another 2 or 3k and then reassess where they are. But great vision of them coming back towards the transition area to complete the first lap.
And as we did mention, from a parochial side of thing, we have 2 very young Tasmanians going around as well, and so we'll keep an eye on how they go. The 2 Jacks as well, as there is the vision along the beautiful part of this northwest coast. We can see Devonport City as the backdrop. There is the beach as the racers come back towards the start-finishing line.
Yeah, a little chicane here. Got a quick right and left-hand corner. And they did that very smoothly.
They did, didn't they? So here they come. They're just interchanging position. It's still Dylan McCulloch in front with Taylor Reid.
Incredibly good, outstanding bike handling skills, these 2 lads.
And there they go, directly past us, Redders, and you had to really don't blink because you were going to miss them. They were just a little blur.
Yeah, look, I tell you what, these guys, there is no secret to their race today. They're certainly going to try and make every gap. They know McCluskey and they know that Jake Birtworth has the running pedigree. So whatever gap they can get, they will take. And I tell you what, it's pretty sizable gap too, I've got to say.
It's seeming though that's got a little bit wider. Sorry to interrupt, Redders, doesn't it, by looking at that? So let's have a look. So it's, 16 seconds?
No, 24, 25
there it
seconds.
is.
So 25-second gap, there we are. And then
it is, so I apologise.
And then the chase, that's the first chase group. And that's got Oscar Dart, Jake Birtwhistle, Luke Whelan, Brandon Copeland's in there, Lachlan Jones, Luke Schofield, and Saxon Morgan and Trent Thorpe, along with Jack Cromes in that chase group. And then 37's back is Braden Mercer from Australia, James Corbett from New Zealand, Callum McCluskey is in that group, Henry McMecking from New Zealand, and Jaden Schofield from Australia is in the next group of 4. And then we've got Kurt Wesley riding a little bit of no man's land on his own at 41 seconds. And then Benjamin Airy is in 18th place, 49 seconds back, along with Leighton Wall and Jack Staples.
Well, there they go around as they're back out on the track and bunching up, an enthusiastic crowd, not that you can see on the vision that you're watching, but in and around that start-finishing line and the transition area, there's quite a few people have come out to watch these elite athletes go about their stuff in the sprint championships for Oceania. It is McCulloch and Reid out there in front. Oscar Dart, but just keep an eye on that gap, Redders. I think we had that down as at 29 seconds a few minutes, or 25 seconds, 24-ish now. So it's staying around the same. Will be fascinating to watch that split as we go through. There are some more competitors just going up and about over those little ones with, I think that was Blackburn from Australia and Haycock from New Zealand.
So they're about 120 down on Reid and McCulloch. So a bit of work to do for them, but remembering there's under 23 race within the elite race as well. So right now in the under 23 race, Dylan McCullough's leading the elite and the under 23 race.
Yeah, I was just looking out there. I did see. I was looking for the young fellas. Oh, there's Jackie Woodbury as well. So what's he? He's 1 minute 30 down. So he's doing a great job. We'll keep an eye on all of those. And Jack Latham, 156. So there's those two other young Tasmanians, Redders, that we hold that have so much potential in the sport, doing a very, very good job in the early stage. They'd try and hang on. We know that certainly Woodbury is a very, very good runner as well. So the race is on in earnest, and it is McCulloch and Reid. And that distance that we've got still is 24 seconds to Dart, Birtwhistle, Villian, Copeland, Jones, Schofield.
Yeah, and they're climbing the hill now, and a big move from McCulloch. He's so strong. Taylor, he's starting to drop Taylor Reid. I'm not sure whether that's a great move, but he is capable of riding solo too.
Looking back there, matey.
Just checking to see where Taylor is. He's got to make a decision now. Do I keep pushing on or do I wait for Taylor? Because he's a very competent rider. But they've certainly ridden the first 5-6K very hard. And there's the chase pack coming up. So it'll be really interesting to see whether Dylan sits or he waits for Taylor, or he pushes on. I would suspect you're probably better off to wait and pull your turns. But if he's feeling strong, he's certainly capable of riding solo.
Yeah, that was an interesting move there. Was it more McCulloch pushing on or Taylor Reid dropping off? The way it looked, his shoulders went down, Reid, just for a minute.
Just looking at this footage, I think the gap has closed. We'll try and get a split at the top of that hill, but it does feel like it has closed a little bit from the 25 seconds that it was at the end of the first lap.
There's certainly distance between 1 and 2 now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And here comes McCulloch.
And he's hitting
look at the pace.
Massive speeds down there. Great bike handling skills. Takes the air in, brings the speed off for that sharp left-hander. Fantastic bike handling skills. Pushing down, getting outside pedal down. And now back into the power, get back up to speed.
So that was fantastic vision to watch Dylan McCulloch go round there. So
look at that distance. Just on
huge,
that climb, he's opened up that gap. And here comes the chase pack. So the gap between Dylan and the chase group might be about the same, but certainly Taylor looks to be losing a little bit of time to him.
He has.
So I feel like he's going to sit up and wait now. Smart racer. There's no point burning him because now he's still capable of running.
So he's made the educated decision, if you will, to just keep on pushing, but just wait for this group and then tack himself in there somewhere so he doesn't expel all that energy.
So the interesting thing with this group does come together, then if they sit back a little bit, then the third group, which includes Callum McCluskey, allow them to get back into the race. So they've certainly got to make some decisions about how they pace themselves with this race. But as long as Dylan McCulloch is pushing at the front, I'm sure the chase pack will keep the pace up to try and keep him in check. And what a fantastic shot there of Dylan on the solo ride, heading back to the transition area to complete the second lap of 4.
Well, like you said, with the decisions, we know that in the second or the wave chasing is Burt Whistle. He'd love it if he could keep his distance from McCluskey. There's no doubt about that. That would suit him down to a T. So I'm sure he doesn't want that group to push up and join on a personal note. That's for sure.
Oh, look, there's certainly plenty of runners in that group.
Yeah.
Luke Whelan, Brandon Copeland are all capable of running those sort of times as well. So, yeah, it's no easy race, that's for sure.
So there they go around the corner. So we'll wait for a bit of a check. We're saying at this stage it's around that 25.
And there's our Tassie boy, Jack Woodbury, with a couple of Kiwis. He won the Junior Oceania Champs in New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. So he's certainly only 17, 18 years of age, so certainly riding with great confidence. And here comes Dylan McCulloch. So he's about to complete lap 2. So halfway through the bike, 10 kilometres to go. 2 more times up the North Street Hill. So we'll get a time gap on that
in just a few moments. So we'll keep you posted on that as he whistles down. He's got the straight. You can see him. He's going around that corner and right in front of. He's looking back and saying, "Well, I'm going very nicely. That was a good move by me."
He's absolutely got and he's opened up a bigger gap.
I think it is. That looks wider, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll get a time split here very shortly, but he has certainly not holding back.
So the chase group really do have to get organised to catch up at this stage because it is Dylan McCulloch as having the ride of his life.
Yep.
See, it's
so 32 seconds on the chase group. So he's managed to eke out about 6 seconds more.
That's
8
fantastic.
seconds more. And here's the third chase pack coming the other way. So in that chase group, Lachlan Jones, Jake Birtwhistle, Oscar Dart, Luke Schofield, Taylor's been Reed from New Zealand, Saxon Morgan from New Zealand, Brandon Copeland, Trent Thorpe and Jack Crome, along with Luke Whelan. So that's the chase group, and then the second chase group is just going through as well.
And there they are now. So what are they, about a minute down?
They're about a minute down on Dylan McCulloch, and what's that, put about 25 seconds down on the second chase group. So they can't afford to sit up and let Dylan ride away because there's going to be some really strong runners in that third pack coming through if they don't do the work.
So it's getting to the very, very interesting stages now. So halfway through, or a bit over halfway through the cycle, and these gentlemen are going at a very good clip. And now one of the other interesting things, Redders, as we look at the cycles, normally you see the triathletes go down on the bars, but in this particular race, they've discarded those handlebars.
Yeah, correct.
I'm pretty sure I've got the answer, but I'm going to go to the expert.
And here's young Jack Woodbury, the Tasmanian boy, trying to ride the Kiwi lads off his wheel. Probably better.
Courageous.
It's probably better just to sit and wait. He's trying to get across to that group there.
Yep.
Yeah, look, just as you were saying with the handlebars, it's drafting legal, I should say, in this race. So there's not really a huge amount of benefit riding in a pack to put the handlebars on. They do have quite strict rules. They have to fit inside your brake hood. So some people do put them on if they manage to be a cyclist like Dylan McCulloch and find themselves where they've got to bridge across gaps. But for all intents and purposes, most of them just ride with traditional bike setup because it's a criterium style racing.
I just sort of thought we had one or two people just give us that question. It was great to get it from the very knowledgeable Craig Redman. Of course, been involved in triathlon for many, many years, as there's Holland and Latham going through. Of course, Latham from Australia, Holland, New Zealand. Small there as well. They go in that little tight turn, heading back towards the straight where the transition area is.
So this group's around 240 down on Dylan McCullough. So they're about 210 on the chase back. So here's the lone figure, Dylan McCullough, going up the North Street Hill for the third time. So one more time to go. I'm actually we're happy to hit the top of that. Starting to burn now, that real pinch, but this is where the good riders accelerate over the top of that climb and keep your momentum as you push over the top. And that gap is definitely opening up.
He's having a great ride. There's the...
now, in this group, there'll be some frustration because there'll be some riders in there that are saying, come on, let's work. And there'll be others going, you know what? I know I can outrun most of you, so I'm not going to do any work. So there'll be a lot of frustration, a lot of talking and yelling going on.
I was going to say talking and be heated discussion, I would have thought, Redders.
Yeah, trying to find the ones that actually want to do the work to win the race, and those that are happy to just to get off and run well.
Yeah, there's a lot of tactics involved in this. There is no doubt about that. It's not just going out and having your own time like you go out for a ride after a busy day at work to de-stress. This is racing, and there they are. And here comes our leader, Dylan McCullough. Last time we saw him come down, he was very, very swift. Now he's hanging on and getting to that aerodynamic position. A little bit of a speed wobble there, but he's hung on. Done very, very nicely. Goes around on the wide one, will come back in, and you go to that quick turn and back to us. You can see the fence there, which will hold him up. Puts the brakes on, very, very hard.
U-turn, the fatigue's starting to set in. He's 3 times up the hill, all those power spikes from all the U-turns and accelerations. But he's riding incredibly well, and there will be see what damage will that do to his run. But look, they're not even down the hill now, so he is widening that gap.
He's having a great race here.
So these athletes are going to let him go up the road if they don't get their act together. So who's leading this group through? Is that Luke Whelan or Oscar? I want to say it's Luke Whelan, yes. And Luke Schofield from New South Wales as well in second place around the U-turn.
As soon as they hit that area, that's when they just get out of the saddle. You can see them looking back and saying, come on, let's get up the road a little bit and getting away from us.
And if they're not careful, that chase group that includes the athletes like Brad Corse and Braden Mercer and Callum McCluskey and Jaden Schofield, Kurt Wesley, I should say, in that chase group, they will get back on, and that will bring McCluskey back into the race. So they don't want to fall asleep here.
Fantastic to see the vision, very tactical in these, well, for what is shorter distance. That seems somewhat demeaning of the athletes as they go round, but of course triathlon is varying distances. These guys are very, very, very fit. This is the short distance and the caper, but it's still very arduous on the body, as you can see there, the streamlining, propelling down that big hill.
Yeah, so here comes Dylan McCullough back along past Coles Beach and the Devonport Tennis Club there on the left of screen.
You'd have to think, Redders, that people watching this, surely they must get the fire in the belly to want to move down to this beautiful part of the world when they see this. I'm surely by the time this comes around next year, it's going to swell from 22,000 to 32,000 at least when they see this. Very livable city. Little chicane here, left or right to left. And we're going to see this young fella come directly past us, excuse me, in just a few seconds. It's pushing hard now on the straight.
He's really, really burying himself. He's going to try and go hard as he can. He's very, very capable. And this is going to be a very interesting time gap when he goes through, but it is substantial, and it's potentially a race-winning lead.
Very much so. So we've got him down here. We're just going to wait for the update in just a few seconds as these guys, again, quickly coming down that hill.
So just to give us
put him in angel gear.
these athletes that are on the far end of the course, coming down the hill for the third time. And I tell you what, the lead pack's coming through now. Dylan's on the far end. He's turned. The chase pack's gone through.
Oh, that's a big lead.
And this gap is definitely increasing. 37 seconds it is now. So it was 33 at the North Street.
Yep.
The last lap. So he's maintaining it, but what's the energy cost? Will it impact on his run? He's a very, very brave athlete, so he's more than capable of holding the athletes at bay. And what could be a danger here is that some of the athletes in the chase pack start thinking about the run, hopping, back off a little for the last 3K. And if Dylan commits that last 3 or 4K, suddenly he can find another 15, 20 seconds, and then he's out to a minute lead on a 5K run, and that's a race-winning lead.
Oh, yeah, what are we talking, sort of 14 minutes or so. So there we can see it is McCulloch, Copeland, Croom, Schofield, Morgan, Thorpe, Reed, Birtwistle, Jones, 38, and then
Willen.
Willen, I think there, Oscar Dart. So they're all in that group. So we've got 11. So we've got 1 out the front and 10 in that group to chase down. And they've got to really work hard to chase to get up to what has been a fantastic performance by Dylan McCulloch in this sprint race, the Oceania Triathlon Sprint Championship for 2024 in Devonport.
And then that second chase group that's got McCluskey and Brad Course and Jaden Schofield in there, they're around 40 seconds. They're 109 on Dylan McCulloch, which is in about 40 seconds down on 30 seconds, I should say, down on the second chase group, which includes Birtwistle and Luke Whelan and Brandon Copeland.
So there is the vision of the waves just coming in on the rocks on the coastline here of Devonport on the northwest coast of Tasmania. We're on the last lap of what was 4 laps for the athletes, 4 or 5 kilometres to make up the 20, and then they jump off. And you would have thought, that's enough for me. I've had enough. I'll go and have a drink. But no, they get the sneakers on and away they go for 2 laps, 2.5 kilometres each to make up the 5 before that final chicane that comes down to the line.
Just had a shot there of our Sports Integrity Australia officials waiting to do the drug testing. So the prize for winning this race is certainly a visit by our anti-doping panel. So there's Dylan McCulloch, the last time up the notorious North Street Hill. Incredible riding from this young lad, and he is really pushing forward. And I suspect he'll open up a bit more lead here. I think the chase pack will start thinking about the run and easing off. Oh, it's really tough. He's starting to get the wobbles a little bit. Sat down on the seat, climbed back up.
He's got the whole hill.
He's got the whole hill lead now, and so this could blow out to a minute lead, and that could be all it is, folks. But you don't know the energy cost. You don't know how much energy is expended on this very tough bike course.
That's what I just love about this sport and endurance sports. You just sort of think, oh, look, he's got out in front now. No one's going to catch him, but it's exactly right. It can be cat and mouse. Someone in that pack who is just been sitting, 3 or 4 deep in the middle, not working as hard as the others, getting a little bit of a pull along, understanding that they have the sprint in their legs. And here he comes now. We know he's been very swift down that hill, and he is motoring. Straight
down onto the drops, onto the safest part of the handlebars. Maximum speed, tucked in.
He looked very steady on that one. The last couple of times he's got a tad wobbly at the bottom. Now he looked very assured.
Yeah, just sucking in the air, just recovering from the climb.
This is the technical areas, as you very, very much know, as he spins himself around, gets out of the saddle, issuing the challenge to those people who'll get to view him, or he might even get to round the corner before they do.
Oh, look at that. They're only just halfway down the hill.
So they'll see him turn there and understand what the challenge is in front of them.
Yeah, they can't relax here.
Yeah, like you said, Redders, if they start to concern themselves with each other, start jockeying, and it gives a bit of air to Dylan McCulloch, who is his own little world, which can be quite a good thing at the moment.
Yeah, well, you're taking a 37-second lead and suddenly blowing it out to a minute on the last lap because he's a race-winning lead, so you can't fall asleep. Certainly probably not going to get too much help from the Kiwis. They're not going to try and drag the pack up to their teammates, so it's up to the Australian athletes if they want to be within reach for the run leg. And our second chase pack is closing in as well. So there's Corbett from New Zealand riding in second wheel.
One of the athletes that I'm interested in is Taylor Reid, because I think it was the second lap when he went up the hill. He looked a tad wobbly, but he seemed to have recovered. And I reckon he was foxing, and like you said, he's a very experienced campaigner. He probably just decided, oh, well, I can't keep up with that. I'll just settle in here, regain my second wind, if you like, and save myself for the run. So,
look, I'm pretty sure knowing Taylor, he didn't really want to be dropped by Dylan. He's more than capable of riding, but Dylan's got great legs and rode him off his wheel up the hill. So
he did.
Kudos to him, and then Taylor was smart enough to recognise that. And all right, let's just go back to the pack and conserve the legs for the run. So here he comes. He's about 200 metres away from entering a transition and to start the 5K run.
Going around for the last time into this tight left-hander, and then he will dismount.
Hit the dismount line. He must make sure that he dismounts the bike before the line so he doesn't get any penalties.
Yeah, the last thing you want to see here.
So this will be really interesting to see how he runs into transition, to see how the legs feel.
Look at him go.
It's quite a long run here. You've got to run to the far end of transition and do a U-turn down the bottom and then come back up. So it is quite a long run.
Well, he looks to be moving very nicely, Redders, at this stage. I think knowing that you've got an opportunity to get on the winner's dais can certainly give you a little bit of motivation as pushing it very steadily back up into his position where he's going to put the runners on, take the helmet off, and be very cautious that you...
So here's the pack coming, but they've got to run to the far end of transition. So it'll be really interesting to get the time gap on this.
Getting his... Yep, he's away
Dylan
safely.
Off and running. We'll see how his form looks as he comes past us. So 36 seconds, so they didn't let it sneak out too far. So I think for the runners, that's when... So he's moving very well.
Yeah,
he's got good form.
Fantastic. He certainly wasn't going to allow them to catch up. He really put some pressure on, didn't he?
Yeah, so kudos to the chase pack. They didn't let it blow out too far, but they still haven't even got to their running shoes yet. So 36 seconds. So you're doing the sums. They've really got to pull back about 10 seconds a kilometre over this run to be in the hunt. So it's a pretty handy lead. Brandon Copeland is leading out. Schofield as well. There's Dart. Luke Whelan was right there. Jake Birtwistle very tardy out of transition.
And they are up and standing and running, and I would suggest, to be somewhat bold, that our winner's going to come from there. It's going to be challenging from the next one back, I would have thought, Redders.
Yeah, I can't see. Callum McCluskey may run through a few of these and a couple of the runners from that third chase group, but the medalists, I think, are going to come from this group, especially when you've got guys like Brandon Copeland, Luke Whelan, Jake Birtwistle in there. Trent Thorpe, Saxon Morgan are certainly capable, as well as Taylor Reid. And here comes our third chase group. So here's Callum McCluskey.
There he is,
he's
leading
heading
him out.
So pretty tough run for him. So he's just going to have to put his head down and work off it.
Yeah, so he has decided if he's going to do anything, he has to really push on his own volition.
And Henry McMaking from New Zealand just behind him, heading out as well. So let's have a look at this vision. So there's the chase group. They are strung out. Brandon Copeland, great transition. So he's led out. He's certainly training partner of Jazz Hedgeland. Can they make it a 1-2 between those two?
So the rest of the runners, as you can see that vision there, there's a lot of encouragement just in front of us as the athletes hit the road. everyone's cheering them on, and why wouldn't they?
Just trying to look at that awesome vision from to see if I can pick where Dylan is on the course. Can certainly see the runners from the chase pack, but I'm just trying to pick up where he is. So there's a great, they're split. So Brandon Copeland 34 seconds down out of T2. Fantastic T, that was transition split of 45 seconds for Dylan, 43 seconds for Brandon.
All right.
So here he is, Dylan, heading to the far end of the run course. So he's about just over 1K into the run here. Still got really good form, nice cadence, good body carriage. So it'll be really interesting to see what that that split is. The chase runners are not, oh, they're coming around the bend now.
He looks good, doesn't he?
So he's running with good form, good confidence. It's just about, it's very hard when you have ridden that way and got a lead and then you're the hunted. It's about a lot of self-talk and holding your form. So who's chasing here? Luke Whelan's gone out and Jake Birtwistle in third place. So Luke Whelan's gone hard. Out after him. So he's having
a nice little gap himself.
He had a very good transition, Luke, to get out there. And Jake Birtwistle in third, Brandon Copeland in fourth. Taylor Reid is there in fifth. And Saxon Morgan from New Zealand there as well.
So we'll go with our vision, as we can see here, back up into the heights with Richard. As we zoom in on our athletes, we can see their form. They're running really, really nicely. They run at a very, very good clip. So they've got, as I said, the 5 kilometres. They'll run this in, 3-minute kilometres, I guess? A bit less.
Yeah, they'll be
a bit less, isn't it? Yeah, because it's 14. I'm
these
just
doing
the old math.
We'll be 14 something.
Yeah, 14 something.
But the bike does take a bit out of the legs. So this is our second chase pack with Callum McCluskey on the hunt. So they're not that far down either.
Just powering their way around the course. It is the elite athletes in the race here in Devonport, the Oceania Sprint.
So race. There goes Dylan McCullough back the other way as we look at some of those runners coming through to the turnaround. As we pan back to second place. So there's Luke Whelan and Jake Birtwistle. So Luke Whelan in second, Jake Birtwistle in third, and Brandon Copeland moving up onto Jake's, trying to hang tough there. So the boys have gone out pretty hard. So it'll be interesting to see what the time gap is.
And there was Taylor Reid, who we thought was foxing, because he seems to be moving quite nicely.
He's going well. Saxon Morgan also from New Zealand leading him, and I believe that's Oscar Dart just sitting on Taylor's shoulder as well.
So tell me a little bit about Birtwistle's style there, because he seemed to have a shoulder dropping on one side and the other. Is that his normal running style?
Yeah, it does look a little bit awkward. He lost a little bit of ground there coming out of T2, so he's had to work pretty hard to get back onto that. And it looks like he's made a little bit of move there on Brandon Copeland. So Brandon's dropped off a little bit, and the two Kiwi boys have got a target right on Brandon Copeland's back, just trying to ease their way back up. So these guys tend to go almost into threshold, and then they've just got to try and hold that just below that. And as we look, Jack Woodbury, the Tassie boy, is coming down there.
There he goes.
So what a fantastic race from him as well. He's only a junior. He won Junior Oceanias in New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. And here he is racing with the big boys right here in Devonport.
And you watch him run, Redders. He's a very, very good runner. Very swift indeed.
You know, I've been talking to some of the sports scientists at the Tasmanian Institute of Sport, and they certainly rate him very highly with some of the skill sets he brings. And here's our race leader, Dylan McCullough. So he's coming back. He's on his way back. He's probably about 600 metres from the run turn. So
great if we can get I think we just had a few challenges with our timing, but it seems to have come back. So we will wait with great interest when we get that update. Look at him running there beautifully.
Yeah, so you can see the entrance to the finishing line there, just to the top of screen on the right. He's go past that and goes up to the turnaround. So what did we say? About 200 metres to go, and then he completes the first lap of the run.
Yep.
And he's got 2.5K to go now. The question will be, how much distance have they taken out of it? And
if any
on this vision, I'm not sure they've actually made any ground on him. He's certainly running with good form. He'll get a look at where they are, and he'll be able to make a judgment of how hard to push and whether to control his pacing. So fantastic. There's Luke Whelan, there's Jake Birtwistle.
He'll be certainly, as the local favourite, be getting a bit of an urging along. So he turns in 46.27 with a couple of kilometres to go, and as he's just about to go past Birtwistle, they cross over and they both know what's in front of them now. He knows that the wily veteran who is the current champion of this race, what he's got to do. 21
seconds, so they've only pulled back
10
seconds, so that's not enough. So if he can hold this form, I reckon he's going to run away with it. Jake Birtwistle at 27 seconds, so he's 6 seconds down on Whelan and 27 seconds down on Dylan McCullough. And then here's the chase group of Brandon Copeland, Saxon Morgan, Oscar Dartson and Taylor Reid. So these guys at this moment are racing for fourth unless they can get across to Jake Birtwistle. That's Luke Schofield going around now in 8th place.
Well, he looked really assured, did McCulloch. I loved his running style. He looked smooth. He was just covering over the ground instead of up and down on the ground. Very, very good-looking running style.
And this is the young Jack Crome, had a great swim bike, who's going really well. And the chase group's coming through now.
I think you get even more heightened about this time, and you really try and dig deep because you understand there is no tomorrow. This is where you have to step up. You make a decision now. It's now or never. What have I got left in the tank? And don't leave anything out there, because the last thing you do not have regrets in racing. So they'll be giving it their all as we speak now, as we see the runners. There's Parry from New Zealand coming around for the last time as he pushes back to the city and then comes back to find the finishing line.
Yeah, and the North Street Hill's really starting to bite now.
Very much so.
On the second lap of the run.
Can he hang on, McCulloch? Well, he deserves to. By gee, he was brave when he went up the hill, wasn't he? Just so brave when he turned back. We just thought for a minute that he was going to wait for Taylor Reid, but he decided, no, it's decision time now. I'm going to push on. I'd be fascinating to know that conversation as well, Red, as if anything was said between the two countrymen from New Zealand. And again, hello to our very dear friends from New Zealand. We're seeing your athletes are going very, very nicely here today.
So our Kiwi boys head up to the turn. So these guys have got 2.5 kilometres to go. It won't be long, and we'll get that amazing drone shot to get a bit of a feel of where those athletes are on the run course. And here comes in the fourth screen, we've got Price of Australia, but just behind there, Jack Woodbury. Here we go, Dylan McCullough.
Oy.
So Luke Whelan has certainly closed the gap, but I don't think it's close enough. Dylan's running with great form, and Jake Birtwistle having a look behind, checking. That's not a great sign.
Yeah, it's not a great sign. It's almost like, can I hang on for the podium?
Where he gets, or maybe it's like, okay, I've got the bronze stone up. Can I now push for silver? So Jake's got an amazing closing. Finish after the last 800 metres. Luke certainly knows that, but right now it's all about Dylan McCullough.
Yep.
What a fantastic race. He's led from the swim, he's led on the bike, and he is being very tough to chase down. And right now, if he holds that form, I don't think he's going to be caught.
Well, we've still got him. Let's have a look here. 21 seconds.
So Saxon Morgan, Oscar Dart, Taylor Reid. I know Brandon Copeland, I apologise. So that's 4th, 5th and 6th right there. So Kiwi 1, Kiwi 4, Kiwi 5.
Doing very, very nicely so far here, but it's a big effort to try and catch our leader, who has been mercurial performance by him, young Dylan McCulloch, in today's race. Well, he might just be crowned. He gets 2 gold medals around his neck today, Redders.
Certainly the leading under 23. Oscar Dart, I believe, would be the second in the under 23 race. And there's McCluskey going through as well, who finished second last year. So he's certainly running very well, but just too big a gap on that chase group.
Yeah, no.
So there's Dylan McCullough. He's on his way home. So he's got just over 1.2 kilometres to go. Gets to that bend. It's about a kilometre to go from there.
Yep.
See if we can get the picture of Luke Whelan coming in and have a bit of a guesstimate of that time gap. But there's Luke Whelan. So I've got it at about 15 seconds. I don't think he's going to get him from there. 15 seconds with a kilometre to go.
Ooh,
it's going to be pretty tight.
He's closing it, but yeah, he's going to run out of tarmac, I would have thought.
Yeah, and Jake Birtwistle in third place. So it's interesting. So that will be our podium unless these guys come home. Who we got there? Brandon Copeland is now running. Saxon Morgan and Brandon Copeland in fourth and fifth. Taylor just losing contact with that. So Reed is now in sixth place and just losing contact with those other guys.
So maybe that heel did take a little bit out of the New Zealanders' legs in Taylor Reed.
Yeah, don't forget, some of these athletes are looking, we're looking at Abu Dhabi as their first race for the year, and some had already had a few races, so it's all early season form is really interesting to see who's done a few races and who hasn't. But certainly winning form's great form.
Oh, and no doubt about that. Well, I wouldn't know that, Craig Edmund, but you certainly do know. You've been a winner in this format. So here is McCullough. Before we saw there's another New Zealander going around, but at the moment he's making every post a winner in the race here in Devonport. It's the Oceania sprint race for 2024, which sort of kicks off the season for a lot of our athletes.
And there was our Braden Mercer and Jack Crome, some of our leading swimmers there. Just talent transfer athletes and only young, so just cutting their teeth on their first elite race. So they'll certainly take a lot out of this race and racing very, very well. So we shouldn't be too far away from our leader. And there he is. He's probably only about 400 metres to run, Dylan McCullough. And he is going to take the win here.
Yep.
What a fantastic race. Basically from start to finish. And there he is. He's about to enter onto the blue carpet. Get behind him, New Zealand. Here comes your young lad. He's got his sights set on Paris. And he's certainly putting a stamp on his in his passport for Paris right here.
Yeah, look at him power down this last bit. Puts the sunglasses on top of the head just so he can get the perfect photograph to give to family. And he pumps the sky. He says, well, I've done it. I had the courage to get up that hill. I decided to go it alone, and I've come away with the victory. You can see the distance. They've closed the gap, but it's certainly not enough as New Zealand, through Dylan McCullough, has gone across in first position.
Luke Whelan takes second. Fantastic race from him. He
12 seconds.
12 seconds it was. So Dylan just measured his run. It was a very experienced, mature run, actually. Jake Birtwistle, the local boy, comes in third, defending champion for the Oceania champs. So he takes third. So this is his first race for the season. Brandon Copeland, partner of Jazz Hedge and the winner of the women's, he'll take fourth. So Kiwis 1, Aussies 2, 3, 4. Saxon Morgan, a really solid race from him in fifth. Fantastic race. And Taylor Reed is holding on for sixth.
Here he is. He was the man who, when he went up the hill, he's not giving the high five. He was concentrating to making sure he got over the line first.
And another one of our junior athletes, Luke Schofield from New South Wales, and Oscar Dart from Victoria is coming across now as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's certainly given everything there as he comes across the line. Well done by Dart, and what was he? He's about 1 minute and 9 down on our winner, Dylan McCullough. So a really polished performance. I really take my hat off to this young New Zealand performer, athlete, who it was in that lap, and he went up the hill. There's McCluskey from Australia's come across, Callan McCluskey, with Oscar Dart just a few minutes ago. There about 1:29. Kurt Wesley from Australia again has crossed the line. So they're all starting to come across the line now. It was bunched up, but again, as we said, in 53.37, that's a very fast time by Dylan McCullough, the New Zealander, who had the courage to take the race on up the hill, put on the bike, decided when he looked around it was his turn today, and he didn't give it away and did a very nice job indeed. So the athletes are still out on the track. You can see they're spent because the temperature here is in that mid-20s, so they're trying to cool off, and of course when they have the tarmac as well, it sort of repels some of that heat back up to them, and they're all talking a bit about that now. There's just behind there's William Bert Whistle in third position, the Tasmanian competitor. Sammy Parry from New Zealand, James Corbett as well, just came across the line. So well done to them, and you can see that they've given their all, and some of them, as we alluded before, were expectation. They were going to be in Abu Dhabi and they didn't race, so some then went to Napier and raced in New Zealand. So their first races, they'll get an indication of where they think they're at. There's some very happy athletes, if not tired athletes, are just looking at each other there, and there we can see Redder's his vision just grabbing our Victor, and he'll be talking to him very, very shortly. But taking a well-earned break and having their drinks now. So I think we can see some of the other competitors are on their way down now towards the finishing line. Terrific work by them, and there is a couple more. Well done by the performance there. You can see there is Bert Whistle. Just couldn't do it today. He was our victor last year in the 2023 race. He had a very, very good finish sprint to come away with that victory. He gave himself every opportunity, but it was Dylan McCulloch. There is Jackie Woodbury. He gave everything. Look, they've got the packs on him. Only a grade 10 student and racing in senior company today. He has got nothing left whatsoever. Brilliant performance by this young man, and expect that name to be up in lights in the near future. We have, and there's his hero, Jake Birtwhistle. This young fella has idolised him, and he'll be thrilled to get the applaudance of his hero, who he certainly has looked up to over many, many years. Well, very hot conditions here today in Devonport. And so now we'll go to Craig Redmond to interview our winner.
Dylan McCulloch, gold medal here in Devonport, Oceania sprint champion. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was a pretty unbelievable race, to be honest. I just felt super strong in all three disciplines and lit out of the water, pushed the pace on the bike. We originally had three, and then one fell off, and then the other fell off, and somehow I ended up by myself, and I was like, what do I do? Because 20k solo and then a 5k run is not exactly easy. So yeah, my numbers were through the roof and my legs were just feeling like, yeah, amazing. And then I ran super strong and held on to the win. So yeah, very happy.
It really was an impressive race. I mean, riding Taylor off your wheel up the hill and then having to make a decision. So how did you feel about that? Do I go or do I stay?
Yeah, well, I used to do that way back in the day in the youth races, just go solo on the bike, and I was like, what do I do here? But I knew that if I eased up, what a waste. So I just kept the power on, and if they caught me, they caught me. But my numbers were so high that I knew they'd have to be riding pretty hard to catch me. So I was a bit concerned about the run, whether my legs would be there, but yeah, they did come into their own, kind of halfway through, and found my rhythm, and carried it through.
Yeah, it did look on the run that you were running really controlled to us watching on the live stream. So take us through the run. What were you thinking? I know it's nothing worse than being the hunted.
Yeah, well, my legs were feeling like jelly for that first probably 1k, and I was pretty nervous that I knew there were some really quick runners behind me, so I just kind of controlled it on that first lap of the run, and the gap did come down a little bit, but not too crazy. And then my legs just kind of got flowing and found my rhythm, and then just ran my own pace and held on.
It did look like a very mature run for us, so well done. What are the plans now moving towards Paris and beyond?
A few more important races before selection period ends. So we've got our Oceania Olympic distance champs in April in Taupo in about a month's time, and then to Yokohama and then to Cagliari. We'll see what happens from now.
Okay, anything to say for all the family and friends back in New Zealand?
Yeah, thanks to everyone's support back home. I know there's lots of family and friends watching today, so thank you. And everyone around here for the support and cheers out there. Really appreciate it. I love coming to Devonport. It's one of my favourite races on the circuit.
Great to see you'll get gold star for that. Congratulations, gold medal in the elite and the under-23s today in Devonport. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well done, mate.
What a great winner we saw, and there was the vision as he came down to the line. We heard from him. It was interesting to hear his insight, and as we watched the replay, and for family and friends of Dylan McCulloch, you'll enjoy this. He knew he was a winner here, taking the applaudance and the high fives from the adoring Devonport crowd, and you saw and just heard how much he loves to come and race down here. Interesting enough, he just said his numbers were through the roof. He felt so strong. And Redders and I were talking about through the race, is he going to continue on his own or not? And he decided, why not go it alone? Because I used to do it as a youth competitor, and I'm now in this company, and I don't want to waste that opportunity. So he grasped it with both hands and came away a winner. And again, every competitor that we have heard speak so far has been just a wonderful ambassador to themselves and to their family, the way they've thanked everybody and been so humble about the work that they go on. So terrific work from our Victor Dylan McCulloch from New Zealand, and from what he says, he enjoys coming down here, so he'll be back indeed. Obviously, some of the fantastic vision again at the visitor line, and we're going to go now to Redders for another interview.
Luke Whelan, silver medal today at the Oceania Sprint Championships here in Devonport. Tell us a bit about your race.
Yeah, it was a good start. Like, swam really well, just missed the first couple of boys on the bike and kind of spent the first lap solo, like in kind of a bit of no man's land, and saw the group behind my car. I better wait up and just play a bit smarter because, 4 times on the hill can sting a fair bit, but Dylan kind of showed that he had it covered, so kind of just was conscious about the run, trying to get back as much as we can, like not let the gap get too big on the bike, but obviously be prepared to run really fast out of transition to get as close as I can. And I got to about 15, 20 seconds, but then looked back and he kind of had that little bit left and I just ran out of gas in the tank.
So it was a great race for you today. Like, you haven't been on the podium for a while and you had some injuries. So what's the plans moving forward?
Yeah, it's really good to be back on the podium. Spent most of last year injured with the nerve pain, which was quite frustrating. And then, coming back racing, didn't race how I wanted to in Napier because, as was said, don't waste good form. We've put in a lot of work. And so it was really good to kind of put it out there today, and it's a good little stepping stone for Hong Kong next week. So fly out Wednesday, up there racing on Sunday for another race, and should be fun.
So you did let know before that you'd done a little bit of training down here in Tassie and a bit of acclimatisation before the race. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, flew down Sunday down to Hobart for a little training camp pre-Devonport, just to get out of the heat and try and recover up a bit more because it's been pretty brutal up in Queensland this year for summer. But yeah, Tassie put on a show, great weather, riding was amazing, and really enjoyed my time down here, and nice to cap it off with a podium today.
Yeah, well done on your silver medal today, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Reddits.
Well done to Luke, who did a great job, and there we see the vision of when he came across the line. He was valiant in his efforts to catch up Dylan McCulloch, but there we see the camaraderie between the two athletes. They knew that they'd given it their all. But Dylan just had that little bit too much in the tank for the races to come. And third place, of course, was Jake Birtwistle from Australia. But more importantly for our locals here is from Tasmania. And I dare say Redders might get a chat to him in a minute, but we'll just wait for that one. So there is some more vision. So it was Brad Copeland who came in 4th, Saxon Morgan 5th, Taylor Reid, Luke Schofield, Oscar Dart, Callum McCluskey and Kurt Wesley, which rounded out our top 10. But I think now we go to Redders for an interview with Jake Birtwistle.
Jake Birtwistle, podium finish today, 3rd. Not quite the win that you had last year, but how did you feel out there today?
Yeah, it was a solid race. I would have obviously liked to be a little bit further up that podium. I love racing here in Devonport. It's always nice to run in, or nice to race in front of the home crowd. So yeah, it was a lot of fun out there, but it felt a bit harder than I would have liked to, especially at points in the bike. So I think I spent a little too many cookies on the bike, and I didn't quite have the sharpness in the run. But overall, I think pretty happy with the result in the end. It's first race for the year, so we'll blow the cobwebs out, and hopefully we can keep on improving from here.
Yeah, so look, Dylan McCullough had a fantastic race. He led from the start, was riding really strong. What was sort of the feeling in the group to let him get away?
Yeah, well, we didn't let him get away. Those first start, those two New Zealanders, Dylan and Taylor at the start, had quite a gap, and we were working quite well to bring them in, and once they split up, the two of them, Dylan seemed to really get his head straight back in it and refocus for a solo ride, and full credit to him, because that was pretty damn impressive what he did. So it was a really, really tough race, and good one, I guess, to start off.
Look, so bronze medal today. What's the plans now moving forward with eyes on Paris?
So I'm on to the World Cup in Hong Kong next weekend. So straight back into racing. Hopefully, to this race today has kind of helped me get a few things sorted, ready for next week, and hopefully I can keep improving through the rest of the year.
Well, congratulations today. You're on the podium, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, there was Tasmania's own Jake Birtwistle, who we see coming across the line with a very, very respectable third place in the 2024 race, which, of course, last year he happened to be the winner in the race as well. But as we heard, this was his first race of the season, so he, like some of the other competitors, will be packing their bags very quickly. There's no rest for the wicked, and so he will be off there. I understand that we're probably going to see if we can't get to Jack Woodbridge in just a few moments, which will be very, very exciting. We saw that he was absolutely exhausted at his performance. He didn't leave anything to trouble. So he is, of course, one of the young fellas. He's a grade 10 student in Hobart. He went across to New Zealand last year and competed in the sprint series in Napier and came away as the world champ in his age group. And so it'll be interesting to see how he enjoyed his first senior race here in Devonport. It's a big step up for a young man that he seemed to manage himself very, very well. So we'll just wait to go there. We hope that you have enjoyed the racing from Devonport. I know Craig Redman and myself, Andrew Hopp, would have enjoyed bringing it to you. We love coming here. It's one of the best organised races that you could see. It's the 40th anniversary of the race next year, so we're expecting bumper crowds, and even in the earlier event, which was the Tasmanian Olympic distance, there was good numbers this year, but we go. So we're going to go now, I think. No, it is. Unfortunately, we did hear that Jack won't be joining us. He's just over in recovery, so we'll just about wrap up here in just a few minutes. But I'll defer to my co-commentator, Craig Redman. Redders, it was fascinating to hear that. I said out of your earshot to hear what Dylan had to say. In fact, what was going through his mind was what exactly was going through our mind. He got himself to the front and he had to make that decision. And he said, I don't want to waste it. He was used to doing that in the juniors, but never in this elite company. And he just went for it. And I'm so pleased for him that he showed the courage to do so.
Look, we know about Dylan's swim bike pedigree. He's won a lot of junior and under 23 events. Through that, I remember him winning Oceania Juniors here in Devonport in exactly the same style. So he's done it before. To do it at the elite level just shows his progression and great coaching and great guy. And New Zealand should be very proud of him. And it was a great race, and he took the race on. Channeling back to the Craig Walton athletes of the day that were swim bikers that never say die attitude and catch me if you can. And today they couldn't catch him.
I loved his attitude, wasn't it? Because he just decided, well, I'm just going to give it a crack. If I get beaten, so be it. I'm not going to die wondering why waste the feeling that I have. And you have those feelings some days. Even a humble athlete like myself, you'd go out there and you think, I have no right to be in this position, but I'm going to try and exploit it as the best I can. And there we see the vision. I reckon that's a good way for us to end our coverage here as Dylan goes across the line. So, Redders, thank you very much indeed. We've had a blast bringing all the action to you over the last few days. We've had the para athletes here yesterday, as we mentioned, over 22 countries, 100 athletes come to Devonport and they loved it. And today we saw the locals go round, whether it be the first-time athletes, and then they stayed on to watch these elite athletes strut their stuff. So I understand that we are going to be showing the presentations very shortly, Retta, so thank you to you. Thank you to our crew here at Duff TV who have beamed these pictures to you round the world. So we are going to take a break here, but when you come back, you will hear the ground announcer, if you like, go through with the medal presentation very shortly.
If anyone knows where Rochelle might be, it'd be great if she was able to come down to presentations. Well done, Tara. And our winner of the Oceania Under-23 from New Zealand, Bria Roderick. Well done, Bria. All right, it's just some photo time. All right, thank you. Well done to our Under-23. And we're just going to announce also the Under-23 Australian Sprint Championship place getters. So in third place was Jessica Ewart-McTeague. Well done, Jessica. Let's hear it for Jessica. Come on up. In third place in the Australian Sprint Championships. Second was Rochelle Hill, but I don't know that Rochelle's found her way here. So second, Rochelle Hill. And our first place getter was Tara Sasinski. Well done, Tara. Thank you. So this is the Australian Sprint Championship Under-23 place getters. I don't know where Rochelle is, sorry. Yeah. Well done, thank you. Our place getters in the Australian Sprint Championship. Well done, Jessica and Tara. So we'll now go to the Oceania Under-23 men results. In third place, representing Australia, Braden Mercer. Well done, Braden. Very strong run from Braden today, particularly the second half of the run. Good stuff, Braden. In second place, representing Australia, Oscar Dart. Well done, Oscar. And our winner today in a time of 53.48, very impressive performance, representing New Zealand, Dylan McCullough. Well done, Dylan. So Under-23 men place getters in the Oceania Sprint Championships. Oscar, Braden, don't go too far away. Just float down here if that's okay. All right, now we'll go on to the under-23 men Australian Sprint Championships. In third place was Bradley Course. Well done, Bradley. Hopefully Bradley's around. You see him? Sprint, Bradley. Thank you. There he comes. That's it for Bradley Course. Third place, well done, Brad. He's about to go off for a run by the looks of it. Third place in the Australian Sprint Championships. Well done, Bradley. Been a consistent, good performer here at a junior level and now at an open level. Second, Braden Mercer. Well done, Braden. And our winner of the Australian Sprint Championships under 23, Oscar Darb. Well done, Oscar. Hello. So now we'll go on to the elite women, Oceania. In third place, hello. Oh, sorry, Tara Sosinski. Come on again, Tara. In second from New Zealand, Bria Roderick. Well done, Bria. Thank you for continuing to come up here, you two. Appreciate that. And our winner today in a time of 1:02:37 from Australia, Jazz Hedgeland. Well done, Jazz. So our Oceania champion. Our place getters in the elite women Oceania Sprint Championships. And we'll just do the Australian Sprint Champions for the elite women. In third place is Ellie Hoyertink. Well done, Ellie. And no surprises here in second, Tara Sosinski. Well done, Tara. And come on down again, our champion, Australian Sprint Champion, elite women, Jazz Hedgeland. Okay, so we're going to the elite men now, Oceania Sprints Championships. In third place, consistent performance again, Tasmania's own Jake Birtwistle. Hold on, Jake. In second place, representing Australia, Luke Willian. Well done, Luke. Great to have him back here in Devonport. And our winner of the Oceania Elite Men Sprint Champ, representing New Zealand, Dylan McCullough. Well done. Jake and Luke, I might get you to just not go too far away. That's okay. All right, and the Australian Sprint Championships is in third place. Brandon Copeland. Well done, Brandon. Nice seeing Brandon. Out swimming or running. Okay, in second place was Jake Birtwistle. Well done, Jake. And first in the Australian Sprint Championships, Luke Willian. All right, thank you for that. I do, Tara, sorry. I'm going to have to ask you to come back again if that's okay. You haven't been up here enough today. And Jess, thank you. We've found Rochelle. Thanks for coming back, Rochelle. So we might get Bria, Tara and Rochelle up for the under-23 women. So we had Rochelle in third, Tara second, and Bria in first. Thank you for your patience. Very nice, thanks, bro. And Tara, Rochelle, and Jessica Yulb-Mateague. Just come on up and we'll get a photo of the Australian Sprint Championships for the under-23 women. So, Jessica in third, Rochelle in second, and Tara first.